Hey everyone, welcome to Raising Up Richards. I'm Joshua.
I'm Rachel.
And we are here to do our first video together to talk to you about what I mentioned in our last video, which is our garden. Now, when you're putting a garden together, my wife knows a lot more than I do about gardening, as you will soon find out. But one of the most important things to do when you're planning a garden is to, well, have a plan. If it were me doing a garden, I would probably just grab a bunch of seeds at Walmart, and I probably wouldn't even read the back of the labels, and I'd just grab the seeds and just throw them in the ground, cover them up with dirt, and just pray that God will rain them and make them grow. But there's a lot more to it that goes into that, a lot more of the behind the scenes things for those of you like we used to be who were city slickers. So I'm going to have Rachel answer a few questions here that you may have about gardening, and plus there might be some other things that you, the viewing audience, would like to know as well. So what is the first step that you need to do when you're planting a garden?
I like to gather all of my notebooks. I have a garden notebook. I have graph paper. I do old school. I don't do an app or any kind of app. I have books that I've collected.
Now, why don't you do an app?
I'm old school, and I find it very helpful to write down not just the kind of thing that I'm growing, but to write down specific names of varieties, because when you, during your gardening, run into a variety of something such as, let's say kale, you want to find out what is the best variety to look for, and you will forget. I always used to forget. So I would write down every year exactly which varieties did well, and that way I would know if some did well, that did not do well, I would just avoid them.
I'd probably, if it were me, I'd probably forget, write them down. I wouldn't even remember where I wrote them down at or where the papers were, but that works out well. So it looks like we have a lot of seeds here. Maybe we can show everybody. There's a lot of, well, seeds here. A lot of seeds. A lot of seeds. So, do you just grab the seeds and then you just say, well, we're just going to plant everything in spring, or like, how does that work? How do you know when to start planting things for people that, like me, that just start, well, don't know.
Well, it is helpful. Most good packets, unless you're buying from maybe a family-owned greenhouse that just sells seeds in a packet, might not have any information on the back, but a lot of Walmart, Lowe's, they have a nice little map, and if you can find your location, you can find your location and realize which zone am I in, that will guide you very well. You can also just stock up your knowledge by reading books also.
What are some good books that you would recommend to people that want to get into gardening that you have found helpful to you?
It is helpful to find a book that, actually, I got this from a library, so it is an old book, but it's an Ohio edition. It can be very helpful to find a book that has your area in the United States, and I think those are a good guide. But my absolutely favorite book is Carrots Love Tomatoes, and planting your particular vegetables or fruits in a certain area with other plants that they will do well with will avoid your garden from losing crops that there should be no reason for them to die.
Okay, so we got the books, we got the seeds, we got the expert knowledge, right? But what else do you need to start a garden? Like, are there certain tools that you need, or what? Like, if you're just starting out from scratch.
Well, finding a good pair of gloves, especially if they are not just cloth and have a good rubber side to them, can be very helpful when you're dealing with the thistles. And but I used to garden a lot just in my hand, with my hands, my bare hands, and you can build up your own blisters with tools.
Right.
Hopefully not, but it can happen.
Right. So, what are some of your favorite things to grow that you've grown in the past? Because you've had other gardens besides this one, but what are some of your favorite things that you've grown?
Some of the easy ones have been the spring garden items. That would be kale, peas, and other types of greens can be very easy. Spinach is a favorite. It's a good place to start. It's a little messy when it rains, but they are some pretty easy things because a lot of the bugs that eat vegetables haven't come out yet. They haven't been born yet, and that can avoid a lot of pests by just starting in the spring. And it's also a good time to get your garden ready. There can be fewer weeds to navigate during the spring.
Okay. So if you had to narrow it down to one, let's just say maybe you don't want to grow a lot of different kind of seeds or a lot of different varieties, right? But you're starting out and you're like, I'm going to just pick one maybe type of plant, seed or something to start with. What would you recommend as like the seed to start with if you're a new gardener?
I would probably start with lettuce because they grow from seed. You don't have to start with an actual plant like tomatoes. Well, tomatoes grow best when they're either grown indoors or you're purchasing a tomato plant that's already had a start.
Okay, great. Well, I think that'll do it for this episode of how to start a garden, and Lord willing, we'll be getting some more videos here in the future that will talk about tools and just different things that we can do to get a garden started. So if you have any questions, send them down here in the comments. Be sure to like our video and subscribe to our channel if you liked the content today. And thank you all for watching. All right, God bless.